was awesome, man. I loved it. That was awesome. You know, it just re-emphasizes that all this show is actually it's a secret vehicle for you to keep auditioning to be in a rock band on YouTube, disguised as IoT people talking about stuff like that. It's all a ruse, folks. This is really about him trying to get discovered. You know, kind of like how Neil Sean discovered that guy in the Philippines off of YouTube to be a new lead singer for Journey. I think it's the same thing here. You're waiting to be, someone's going to, like, you know, dude, Dave Grohl's going to go, oh my God, I need a new guitarist for the band real quick. Who is this guy? I need you to audition. Come to my house.
Actually, all I want is Dave Grohl to come on our show and then jam out.
That would rock.
Yeah, and then you can do that with him.
Speaking of rock, I read an interesting little blurb yesterday. You may have seen it. Taylor Hawkins, who's the drummer for Foo Fighters, he was somehow jamming out with Dave Navarro.
No way.
And so I guess they went to Taylor's house, I guess in the LA area. And he's got, of course, everyone has their own studio when you're a rock star. And so I think there was one other guy. Anyway, they just started jamming and having so much fun. And then before they knew it, they'd written some songs. And then before they knew it, they made an album.
Yeah.
And so Taylor and Dave Navarro are going to put something out. But the funny thing is our audience may have heard of the term yacht rock for that mellow 70s music.
Yeah.
You know, well, anyway, they were joking about that because they're funny guys. Yeah. And so they termed the music they were making as goth rock or yacht goth, something like that, or goth yacht. I don't know.
Oh, that's funny.
It was funny.
That's cool too.
Anyway, I love Dave Navarro, man.
Yeah, I mean those
Jane's Addiction, all that stuff back then, and then he played guitar for a lot of folks, like Alanis Morissette and some other people.
Yeah,
helping them out, making their albums. Anyway, rock trivia because we're all about rock and roll here at IoT Coffee Talk.
And
here's your coffee.
He was married to Carmen Electra, so.
There you go. Boom. I know, you gotta love it.
Counts. Yeah.
The great thing about music and rock and roll is it seems like they all try to lift each other up. They don't feel like they're in competition. Like in business, everybody's like, I gotta kill you so I can do better and all that. All these musicians, it never seems like they're competing with each other. They collaborate, they do stuff. They feel like the pie can just get bigger. You know what I mean? It's like a different vibe in the music world.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of, there can be a little bit of this and that going on, some competition, but I think the best stuff happens when people are collaborating and I mean, I've been in bands, most of the bands I've been in have been original bands. So like I'm surprised you even know this many tunes to be playing on this show or screwing around on this show. But music, man, it teaches you a lot about everything. It's like golf, There's competition, but then you have to have focus on your own game. It teaches you a lot about life, and it's actually very philosophical because that ball doesn't just go in the hole. You know what I'm saying? And if you think about it, you're trying to put a tiny little ball into a tiny little hole in a gigantic field, right? And it's weird how that can teach you so much about life, and music kind of does the same thing because it's the ultimate. I think it's the ultimate creative form. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And unlike painting, where rarely do you see two people or four people painting the same painting, right? I don't know what that would look like.
Right.
Probably like a huge mess, but. Being able to sit there and as a band or a group of musicians come together and connect and just be in that creative flow, Oh man, dude,
it's pretty cool. It's magical,
unbelievable. Yeah, that's why when you hear these stories about these musicians getting together, who respect each other and love each other's styles, because everyone has like a little style.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff can happen. I mean, seriously, and so that's why I think is really cool about music, and what I've learned a lot from making my own as well as playing and performing in bands. And like this kind of stuff, doing a podcast is scary as hell. It's like getting on stage for the first time with your guitar and sing in front of a bunch of people. It's like karaoke, it's worse than bungee jumping. So
exactly. And I am missing karaoke nights. I'm really ready for karaoke.
I'm sure you are.
Everyone has their signature songs, they do karaoke. So just so everyone knows, you're probably wondering, what's Rob's signature song when he's doing karaoke? And can he hit those high notes?
Yes.
My song is Creep.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Wait, hold on. You mean Creep by TLC?
No.
Oh. What creep are you talking about? Not that hip hop song.
No, not hip hop. It's a British band.
Okay.
I need you to hurry, start typing on the internet to find Creep. I need you. We'll see how long it takes you to figure out.
I'm probably gonna get TLC.
Let me see if I can think of some other songs that they may have sung, so you can help spur your memory here.
Okay.
It's a rockin' band.
IoT is going to show up on this episode in some form somewhere. Okay, Creep. Well, no, I see TLC. I see Radiohead.
No. Radiohead.
Creep.
Okay. I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo.
Oh, that song. That's yours.
What's the hell am I doing here? That thing.
Oh, yeah. That is such a weird song.
It is, but what an ending. You're almost screaming. I mean, it's like insane.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's a super dynamic tune. Yeah. I
remember.
So how many drinks do you have to have before you get to that point where you can feel that whole,
I know,
the emotional complexity of that tune?
Because that's a deep song, and so you're right. It takes a lot of intensity to sing the ending there. There's another song I've done where you talk about just your voice is gone. Foo Fighters song, The Pretender, one of these things is not like,
that's a great tune.
But you find you're screaming.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the song is just screaming. Even Dave Grohl goes, I'm basically just screaming out there on stage at people. But that better be your last karaoke song of the night, because you got nothing left after you go through that song. Your voice is just shot,
Yeah.
So, gosh.
Yeah, forget about seeing any Journey after that, right?
No, you're not going to hit the Steve Perry notes after that.
No.
I think we need to start like an IoT Coffee Talk band.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we kind of do. It's a little bit virtual. It's just sometimes you don't sing.
Yes.
Man, I must be super tired. I keep rubbing my eyes.
It happens.
Probably not a good thing.
Because you took your booster shot.
Yeah. So full disclosure, if you're to be serious, then you need to switch the channel. We'll eventually talk about IoT. But
IoT began with rock music.
Really?
Yes. So as you know, when you're up on stage, what do you have? What kind of speakers do you have facing back at you down at your feet on the stage?
Monitors.
They're called monitors.
Yes.
A monitor, it's monitoring the sound that you're making to help keep you in sync. Because the music's going out to the audience and reflecting, and so it might get you off. You might not stay in the right rhythm or whatever. It's all about timing. That monitor, that's what we're doing in IoT. We're monitoring. We're measuring.
And I wrote a bit on that. It's called transforming live music with 5G. So it's like an exploratory piece. But you know how like when we talk about 5G and the stadium, we're always talking about how you can connect a large number of people with broadband using millimeter wave, right?
Yeah.
Rarely does anyone talk about, well, how can we use 5G and, let's say, licensed spectrum, something that can maybe get rented for, let's say, a performance from a carrier to enable a mobile stage. You know what I'm saying? Like a wireless stage where the monitors everything. I mean, albeit you have to wire stuff for power, but how about looking at ways of wirelessly connecting all these things on a stage? Because that's the ultimate real-time environment, just like a factory. Milliseconds matter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And then think about all the complexities. You want to talk about interference, reflections, like what you're saying, being able to deal with that, do it in a predictive way, location-based, all these like really complicated things that actually, if you've ever been on stage trying to perform, there's nothing worse than having crappy sound. Like what you're saying, the monitor, that's like the closed loop feedback, right? From your instrument, your voice, through the entire system and back up to you so that you can respond to the performance. And people who have never been on stage don't understand this. You know? And
it's critical.
Milliseconds. I mean, it's super tactile.
Yeah.
Count. If you're a professional musician, you can pick up those, milliseconds. If it's not exact, let's say like physically, let's say that a human can only sense, let's say, 10 millisecond delays, right? Below that, it's not perceivable. There's a thing called feel. Feel goes beyond our physical capabilities, right? It's anticipation, being able to anticipate the timing. I don't think people in the tech world they don't understand that. But
I think what we're getting at here is we're letting people know that IoT began its life in rock music and live shows.
Well, yeah, I mean, it has so many powerful, I think, maybe IoT or analogs, right?
Yeah,
like the submarine. We talked about like the submarines from back in the day. Friggin', what's that? Greyhound or what was that?
Oh yeah, we watched that. Yeah.
Hey Ryan, what's up, man?
Wow, we got another person on the show.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
I know he was jonesing to get on. He kept like bugging me, right, Ryan? So our buddy Ryan's coming back on. He's joining us again for another IoT Coffee Talk. And
that's awesome.
This is our pre-Thanksgiving.
Yes,
it's our pre-Thanksgiving episode. That's how dedicated we are.
Before we all hop in our cars and fight traffic to get to Grandma's house for Thanksgiving. So I'm going to just put it out there. I'm going to say that IoT officially began at Woodstock, and it was when Jimi Hendrix was playing the national anthem on his electric guitar, and that's when it happened. Feedback. Because you're right, he had the monitors, he had the closed loop thing going.
Yeah.
What else do you have in these rock shows? You have some guy way out, kind of midway in the audience with this big board.
Yeah.
Mixer, soundboard, and he's making sure, what's he doing?
Yeah.
He's listening, adjusting, all that stuff. We're measuring and we're changing behavior.
Yep.
I think that's where it all there. I'm just going to put a stake in the ground and say Jimi Hendrix doing the national anthem at Woodstock, which is where IoT began.
See what you got yourself into, Ryan? Yeah, I mean,
I can't disagree with Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock. I mean, that's a perfect use case for me. I mean, we need more applications like that in the world.
Jimi Hendrix. Do you forget about a killer IoT app? Do you have a Jimi Hendrix app?
There you go.
Right.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I got to say, we have to all drink more water. At least Rob and I have to, because we have frogs in our throats. I'm just like you. I'm going. So we're on a show, Ryan, and we're making funny noises because we just woke up and we're not properly hydrated. It's just ridiculous. Hey, by the way, Ryan, how are you, man?
I'm good. Thank you, Leonard. I see, how are you doing? I see you're traveling all over the place.
Am I? No, I only traveled once. I went to New York.
Well, I feel like it, right? I see all these Qualcomm and you're at a more local event the other week too, right? The IoT.
Yeah. Smart cities. Well, I'm in San Diego, so it's convenient. If I was in the Bay Area, I'd be going to more of the Bay Area events, but they tend to do a lot of stuff virtually.
It's really easy for Leonard to go to Qualcomm events because he's a fighter pilot at Miramar in San Diego, and it's just right next door. And so he's good to go. And so whenever he's heading, he gets on his motorcycle to go over to the show, and you kind of hear the Top Gun music in the background.
And I have Kelly McGillis,
There you go. You're all set. You're all set.
Yeah.
Beach volleyball at lunch.
Volleyball at lunch.
With my shirt off and chest all greased up.
All that's happening.
High five.
Flexing.
A lot of flexing going on there.
Yeah, a lot of flexing. Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And wasn't that weird at the Qualcomm deal, when Iceman came up to you and said, "You're dangerous, you're unsafe when you're in the air." And you just came right back at him and goes, "That's right, Iceman, I am dangerous."
How does he remember all this stuff?
Dude, it's one of the best movies of all time, and
but it doesn't mean that you memorize every single line in the movie.
Whoa,
and then conjure these lines up. Oh my God. No, it's incredible. I forgot everything.
We remember, that's the only thing we remember in life, guys. It's lines from movies.
Right?
I'll be back. That's like the only one that I know.
Do you have friends where when you see each other, you just start going back and forth with different movie lines and stuff? Yeah.
Monty Python, all the Monty Pythons.
Absolutely, yeah. I tell you, I remember a cool moment for me when I think of Miramar was I went to boot camp in San Diego when I went into the Navy. And so the boot camp and everything used to be, right next to the airport there. There was the whole base. And the psychology of boot camp, folks, just for those of you who weren't in the military, like lots of things, they make you miserable and they take you down to the depths of despair and everything and brutalize you. And then they slowly bring you back up, right, as a team at the unit, getting towards the end of boot camp, getting ready. And so when you're getting back to the end of boot camp, one of the nice things they did for us is they put us on a bus and took us to Miramar. Back then it was a naval air station, and that's when fighter weapons school was there. It's moved elsewhere now. And we got to go in the flight line. We got to go all over the place. Got to sit at a F-14D. Met some of the Top Gun guys. All this stuff is on the walls there inside. I mean, you're getting chills. It was amazing. What a feeling.
Yeah, those F-14s, I love those planes. They were huge. Really,
they are a big plane. You're right.
Yeah,
it's good to be in Fighter Town, USA. I
have the tune in my head. That's awesome.
And I know that there's a lot of IoT stuff going on with naval aviation and fighter jets, right?
Oh yeah.
What is all this stuff, right? It's all the same stuff, right? It's where there's sensors all over the plane, letting you know how things are going, your feedback to the pilot, feedback to air traffic control. It's all this stuff.
Those are the basics, right? I mean,
yes.
Like I said, it starts with taking all these functions that you're trying to do on complex systems.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How you doing, man?
Where are you? You always have these really strange backgrounds.
I'm always at the same place, but I change I'm always at the same park. But today it's raining, and this looks like I'm in New York or something in Manhattan or.
All in all, you're just another brick in the wall, Mark.
We'll go.
Exactly. You don't need no education, man.
Awesome.
Sorry, I don't know what I interrupt.
I don't know either. We're just talking about fighter planes, and we have Ryan on again, and he has a beautiful blue wall. I don't know who picked that color, but it's really cool.
Did you paint that, Ryan?
You know, it was my landlord. I actually just moved to Austin here, so I'm still working on getting everything settled. But yeah, she painted it blue. You should see the whole house is actually like a bright blue.
Really?
It's really fun.
Wow.
Cool.
So
I love Austin.
You made the big move, Ryan. You moved from Michigan to Texas.
Did finally made it.
How's that going?
As a scenario, I mean, on technology point of view, is it a lot of companies moving here, or it was already hot? There were already a lot of companies.
I'm still finding out about companies continuing to invest in in the local Austin area. I mean, Tesla has a plant that's a mile long that's still being built right now. There's talks about, I think, Samsung. I know they have some resources here, but I feel like every other week I'm getting sent another article from someone investing in Austin. So it's a fun community, definitely.
Yeah, it's a beautiful city and really good barbecue and food. I mean, I was just really surprised by the food. It's like Houston. You get surprised by how good the food is, you know?
And man, if you're into live music, Austin's a great place to be.
Absolutely, I was really impressed by Austin when I went to the Southwest in 2010.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's really cool.
They have some really cool spots. But yeah, you know, they've had, I mean, Dell was founded there, right? You know, Round Rock, and they have the big campus there.
You know, when Michael Dell and I were attending the University of Texas, building computers in our dorm rooms, except he turned his into a company and I didn't. So,
You jumped into a submarine.
Yeah, really. But yeah, I did read that news yesterday from Samsung, and I saw a confirmation from Samsung on their Twitter page. They already have a big facility in Austin, and they're going to build an even bigger one. I think it's 10, 20 miles outside of Austin in a little town called Taylor. And so they're going to build a fab plant there. Isn't it interesting? I know we've been talking about chips, last few months, and we're seeing all this new investment in fabrication and foundries, like big time investment, Intel, Samsung, TSMC, people are doubling down in a big way to start cranking out a lot of chips. So probably in 2 years, we'll probably be flooded with chips. I don't know.
Yeah.
And don't forget that Austin has the biggest cowboy shop. So
cowboy shop. I do need some boots.
Yeah, it's there. Go? I can send you the address.
I'm having some technical difficulties here. My HDMI cable got unplugged. I had to disappear for a second.
Oh, okay.
I like your chair, Ryan.
Oh, thank you.
He plays a lot of video games.
It looks like a gamer chair almost, doesn't it?
It actually is. That's my nerdiness coming through. I've always been a PC gamer, so it's a DX Racer chair, but it's actually not good for my back. I found out, so I just had ordered a new one, but it looks cool.
Really? Yeah. What do you do with used chairs? Do you just give them to your kid, or
what problem do you have, Leonard? Tell us more. Tell us more about your problem. You have problem with secondhand chairs?
I have some extra chairs I gotta get rid of. I want to know. It's a good place to get rid of chairs.
Craigslist or something like that, or for chairs.
Oh my God! What the hell? What is this episode turning into?
Well, I think this episode is all about how rock and roll started IoT.
Yeah.
Specifically, at Woodstock, Jimi Hendrix playing the national anthem. That's where IoT began. He had monitors. Of course, he had like 100-foot pedals. He's trained in distortion and everything. He's listening, he's monitoring, and he was actuating.
Yeah.
Boom. There you go.
It's a simple model.
There you go. That's really all it is.
Analog model, example of what IoT should all be about. Yeah.
It's really simple. Just remember, your Uncle Rob said, sensors sense and actuators act. Boom.
Ooh.
By the way, I
like that.
some weeks ago I had a conversation about music IoT startups, and in the conversation they appear a couple of companies that are pretty interesting. So one was for tuning guitars and bass, and they were selling like 100,000 devices per year, like amazing.
That's cool.
And the second one was another one. It was a wearable, and that was in case that the band was distributed. So to get the beat of the band, so you could program the wearable, and everyone in the band could get the beat with an actuator, the vibration sensor or something like that. So everyone got the beat, and you could play distributed. So
we got
cool. Yeah, and
I don't know if you know more companies like that on the music industry with IoT.
That's pretty cool.
So I went to the NAMM show in 2019, and that was the last one before COVID started. And
is that the one they do down at Anaheim?
Yep. Wow, Rob, you know a lot of stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's the biggest music merchant or music industry event in the world. You go there, you will see every musician, artist appear there. It's incredible. I've seen some of my guitar heroes at this show.
I used to play Guitar Hero.
Thing. Yeah, I saw Eddie Van Halen. I saw David Gilmour. I was like 2 feet.
David Gilmour?
Wow. Oh yeah. I mean, all
playing Guitar Hero or what?
Huh?
Playing Guitar Hero, you say?
I didn't understand that. What did you just say?
He was wondering if David Gilmour was playing Guitar Hero.
No, Guitar Hero. That's what I thought I heard. I just couldn't believe I heard what I heard. But
imagine Kimchi Bandit beat David Gilmour on Guitar Hero. Can you? Yeah, if you don't get these, you have to watch the previous episodes. But
love it.
So funny. Yeah, Kimchi Bandit. Yeah, that's going to be the name of my next band. But yeah, this community knows nothing about 5G or wireless technology, other than the fact that T-Mobile got all their spectrum for wireless mics. So all these mics, you can't use them anymore. These wireless mics.
What?
Because, the 607 or is this? I think it's 680 megahertz band. It was given to T-Mobile. Like a couple of years ago. So then, what all the mic companies had to do is they had to, they now have like 4 or 5 other bands that they had to move to, available bands. And so it's just completely screwed up. You know what I'm saying? And it's also very archaic because the music industry has no advocacy with the FCC. They're just kind of like, you can kind of use this unused TV spectrum and, maybe a little sliver here. And there's limitations on how many channels you can use. So you can only have so many wireless mics up on stage, right? And then we have like 5G, right? You have unlicensed, you have licensed spectrum that can be used for like large gigs like U2 or Beyonce or any of these large artists that tour the world.
Or Julio Iglesias.
Yeah, you can't even take certain mics to you have to rent mics, or this is what you used to have to do and what you have to do today. You have to rent wireless mics in the local market because
in every region.
Yeah,
but it's like the cellular modems, right? If you don't have a global modem, it's only going to work in the US, in Asia, in Europe. So
right.
The roaming, it's not only about SIM cards; it's as well physical. So if you don't have the global modems.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's like all these opportunities to kind of think through, well, how can we use cellular or even, unlicensed spectrum and some other technologies, maybe CBRS, for some of these live music applications, right? I mean, there's a lot of ideation that has to happen, but the industry knows nothing about it. The way that they look at it is we just got kicked off of the spectrum we used to use, and now we can't use we can't use this equipment that we bought a long time ago. We have to buy new microphones and new transceivers and stuff like that.
But this is good for the microphone industry, right?
Oh yeah, they love it. But the artists hate it.
It's time to rage against the machine.
You have a wireless mic, and then you get a call from the FCC if you use it.
Do you know how does it work? I mean, for example, it's interesting. Like I think it's the LoRa or Sigfox for European regions. It uses 868 megahertz band, and I think this is being used by the U.S. Army in the U.S. So this is why. This is why. I don't know enough about this regulation, but probably, yeah, if you start using this band in the US, the Army can tell you something. But I'm not sure what's the situation or the workflow, of the investigation and the research and go to your house and tell you, hey, Leonard, you are using the Army band. No, you have to go to jail.
No.
Not sure. Does it work?
Yeah, they won't send you to jail to just find the crap out of you or give you a warning. I don't know.
You talk about these spectrums, these frequencies, and there was some news in the last few weeks about related to both AT&T and Verizon and their mid-band spectrum that they had purchased, and then all of a sudden they're saying, well, we don't know if we want you to use it because of airports and other things like that. And I was like, what the hell? Yeah. They dropped tens of billions of dollars in a spectrum auction to get that spectrum. And now the government or FAA or somebody with the airports is saying, hold on, bucko. We may not let you use the things that you just leveraged yourself to the hilt to buy. Yeah. And of course, meanwhile, T-Mobile's been using mid-band for a long time, or, at least a while since they acquired Sprint, and nobody's been complaining about that. So I'm not really sure what that story is all about.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I would be pretty angry if I just spent tens of billions of dollars to buy mid-band spectrum, and then somebody at the airport says, dude, stop it.
Yeah.
I'd just click reply and say no takebacks,
Yeah.
Just no takebacks, sorry. But that is weird to invest tens of billions of dollars in an frequency auction. You start investing in planning, and then you're like, wait, what? Hands off?
That's kind of crazy.
Well, that's why I think, spectrum policy is really important, and that you don't auction off certain types of spectrum too prematurely. I think that's like sort of the lesson that you have with some of these bands, and with the C-band stuff, it boils down to safety because of interference, right? If you have these carriers using the same C-band that's being used to same C-band frequencies, or at least frequencies that are close to what the FAA has designated for, let's say, flight communications.
Yeah,
there's a huge safety issue, right? And so
you know what, Leonard? I tell you, I really wish we had someone on here from Verizon that could tell us what's really going on. What's going on? David, we were talking about how we read in the news the last few weeks, like, I don't know, some airports, some people giving you at AT&T some grief about some spectrum that you already paid tens of billions of dollars for, and now they're saying, oh, hold on, I don't know. What's that all about?
Well, this is why, every time I join in late, I get the drama. But here we are. But
you're not controlling the conversation, so
I know. But as usual, not speaking on behalf of the big telco, but it's quite funny because first of all, there's been these frequencies have been utilized outside of the U.S. in many, many countries by many, many telcos with zero evidence, apparently, of interference. Obviously, there was a ton of research because, usually before people spend, $50-60 billion, they, due diligence is sort of completed most of the time, not every time. And, there was this gigantic buffer zone, in between the frequency that we would utilize to with C-band and the one that you need for the altimeters on planes, which I heard is kind of important for that not to go nuts.
Maybe.
And it was joint research. The FAA folks were involved, the telco folks were involved. So I don't know what to make of it. But I did like that the good folks at AT&T and the good folks at Verizon said, hey, we'll wait a little bit longer, but please get your stuff together so that we can deliver what we want to deliver with our investment. So quite interesting and funny that I walked in on that.
It is funny.
Yeah, it is.
I'm sure when someone wants to contact your CEO about this, it's kind of like right out of Die Hard. They kind of go, Hans, booby,
Yes. And Alan Rickman, may the Lord rest his soul.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
That best bad guy ever. Best
bad guy ever. Absolutely. It's important to have a great villain.
Yeah.
A villain that's so good that you almost like the villain better than the hero.
Yeah, because they dress better too.
Yes, that's really nice suits. I think Arafat would be ashamed to mess up that suit.
Talking about this communication and bands, etc. I was reading this morning, by the way, about an experiment that LoRa and Lacuna made, and they sent a message using LoRa with more power and bounced it to the moon and came back to the Earth.
Whoa!
Did you read that?
No.
No, tell us. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, I just read the headlines, but because we are going towards that direction, I think it's interesting. Well, I think it's an experiment, but they sent, I think, using 350 watts of energy, a LoRa signal to the moon. It bounced it and get back.
That's incredible. Wow.
Not sure if this is usable or not in the future, but
I don't know. But I'll tell you this, Mark. Whoever published that article is getting blown up on LinkedIn right now with an offer to cut the latency in half by using magic.
Well, magic during some weeks in the month, right?
Yes.
Because if you don't have the moon there.
Yeah. Could be. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Hey,
wow.
Ryan just shared a thing. Dude, what is this?
Oh, have you been following the McDonald's?
Interesting. No. Is this like Game of Thrones?
So let me make sure I get the company names right. So there's Kitch, and Kitch is the smaller company, I'll call them. They made a man-in-the-middle device, an IoT device for McDonald's ice cream machines because the manufacturer, Taylor, they have 25% of their revenue comes from replacement ice cream machine parts. So Kitch had made this IoT device to intercept the traffic and then make recommendations for maintenance and things. And Taylor didn't like that. So they ended up getting into a big lawsuit back and forth the past, I think, few years here. And they found out that Taylor, their internal emails were literally sending screenshots of their software and saying, like, make it more like this. And so it's an interesting story, right? Because the franchise owners, I mean, I want ice cream from McDonald's, but the machines are always broken, right? So they came up with this. Yeah, they came up with a solution for it. They were very successful with it. And then the manufacturer came up with their own in-house IoT solution, but it wasn't performing as well. So this has been one that's been turning up every now and then, but I thought it was fun. McDonald's ice cream IoT.
That sounds like fun.
Well, we've talked about it. We've talked about this before, and it's just but here's another use case. Pay attention, Harvard Business Review. Shadow IT, because we have the manufacturer, and we have the franchise. We have the franchisee, we have an innovator, and we have the Ryans and Davids. Like, dude, I just want the ice cream. Like, that's it. I am here. I would like to give you exchange money for ice cream, and you don't want to take my money, right? Let's go to Wendy's. Mm-hmm. But classic shadow IT. You know, someone at the manufacturer says, we really need to sort this out. And instead of collaborating, right, you do what you do. Like, you try to figure out internally, and it doesn't always work. And it's just comical that this one has gotten so much attention because it's Mickey D's, it's McDonald's, and it's ice cream. And the IoT won this one. It's like IoT won. Manufacturer that, they don't want to listen to, the other folks at zero in this case. It's crazy.
Very interesting.
They couldn't, the other thing they mentioned was their manufacturer they came out with the device that didn't work as well. And they used the same man in the middle, they called it, approach. And they're like, you're the manufacturer, you have access to all your data. Like, you don't have to do that. Right. So but
you'd be surprised. Guarantee you there were two teams in that, divided by a brick wall, and they probably didn't even talk to each other. It's like, wait, you work here too? No way. What? Yeah, it happens.
Only we had access to this proprietary machine programming data and all the registers and everything. Oh, we are manufacturer.
But that give me a couple of, I don't know, I only read headlines about this during the last year, but that gives me the impression that they don't use encryption, first of all. No, if you can do a man in the middle, that's tricky. Don't use encryption on the 2021, almost 2022. And and then probably they don't know how to update software remotely. So that's as well something that they should learn.
You're right. Make sure you encrypt your ice cream.
They could bounce the update to the moon and comes back to the machine, I heard.
Maybe.
Yes, I like that. That's pretty cool.
Maybe we could get Taylor or Kitch to come and talk to us about this. It's out there.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? That's that story about how the manufacturer doesn't even understand its own machine. Also tied in with IoT and like predictive maintenance and things like that. There's another story embedded in this that it's as old as time. When the whole IoT and people started saying predictive maintenance and stuff like that, it kind of flew in the face. It took people a little second before they figured this out. But big time manufacturers like GE and Hitachi and stuff were all diving in there. And at one point they went, oh, whoa, wait a second. We make most of our money off of stuff breaking and replacing it and maintenance. Maybe this IoT stuff, we should stop doing that. This analytics is not good for us. I think it's really funny that light bulb coming on for a lot of people who are in that business. They're like, stop this, stop. Yeah. No.
Dirty laundry.
I think I already told you this story like 20 episodes ago, but I was in a meeting with the company that was making boilers, and the mind of the president of the company was completely blowing up. And the guy said, okay, so with what you told me about IoT, what I can do, can I just stop boilers from a specific region so I can start targeting marketing campaigns to them so they buy new ones? So I just break remotely boilers, and then my sales developers can make the quotes and they get the bonus for sales.
Yeah. And yes. Then the name of the marketing campaign would have been Break.
No, is your boiler broken? Yesterday,
I don't know what happened. It was working fine yesterday.
Exactly.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
But
look what you started, Ryan.
Well, there's always a positive. Like I think that we need to have some sort of. I mean, now that you have OEE and machine uptime, these should be publicly published metrics, right? I mean, to prevent manufacturers from breaking their machine, right? So it's tough because that's proprietary data, but it's also, you want to benchmark each machine supplier. And if you're investing sometimes tens of millions of dollars into a production line, you want to make sure that it's going to stay on.
Yeah. No. I mean, I think it's this whole dirty laundry problem that really undermines the value of IoT, and the actually what is more important than even the network design or the hardware design is trust design. How do you architect trust framework so that the participants in whatever solution you're trying to build or design actually trust each other, and that there can't be this dirty laundry dynamic that gets introduced into the solution where if it does play out, that solution no longer is a solution. It becomes like this scam. I don't know what these guys are up to, but I'm kind of perusing the article, but I think those are the tricky things, especially because you know what, a lot of startups, and there was a post that Rick was on where there's a lot of these folks who are either academics or startups who don't really have experience in business, or they don't have experience. They assume that we can take some of these prototypical academic value propositions, IoT, and then everyone will buy into it, and then they wonder why their prospects don't take. It's just a dirty laundry issue, right? And it's a big one. And so technology doesn't solve everything. Not everyone wants digital or digitization of their business, blah, 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 transparency. You have to architect trust and then get honest participants doing whatever kind of honest thing that they can do or are willing to do to create value. Outside of that, man, there's tons of money in inefficiency, and there's people who want to keep it that way. And so if you ever wonder why this company that you're approaching isn't buying your IoT stuff, is because they like that inefficiency, and you're just basically blowing hot air up their wazoo,
oh my God, something just hit me.
What?
So while we've been like this team IoT and efficiency, is it possible that there's another group of folks who are doing a similar podcast, but they're like our evil twins?
Yeah.
And they're the doctors of inefficiency, and they're spending all their time saying how they can disrupt the world. It's like we're the super
Dr. Evil.
I'm serious. It's possible. There could be.
It's possible.
Going on.
I read Ryan's mind. I think Ryan said Rockwell, but he didn't want to say it out loud.
By the way, I think so. This is super interesting because so at Balena we are following a framework called GameB or Infinite Game. I don't know if you know this concept.
Yeah, I know that book.
So I think what we should advocate for is to put this into the industry, right? Like, okay, so like a plant or a manufactory probably has machines from Rockwell, from other manufacturers all together. And if you want to have the OEE, as Ryan said, so you need the performance and everything, all the data from each machine from different. Why don't we advocate for a win-win situation with all the manufacturers, all the IoT brands, all together fight or work to make solutions that work together instead of fighting each other and telling shit each other from.
Well, you're almost describing what is it? Inductive or ignition. The holy grail of having a piece of code that talks to everything else, right? Unified namespace.
No, not really.
No,
it's more like a win-win relationship among all the players.
Kumbaya.
It's there, but like if we want to digitalize everything, at some point there will not be one winner, I hear
you, but if you have all these proprietary protocols and ways of doing things from the big manufacturers, it's more likely that they find a neutral party. And I'm not advocating for one brand or another here, but it might be easier to say, hey, let's use this framework because all of us with our existing protocols can talk to this thing now instead of standing up projects to let us standardized. I mean, standardized is another bad word here. So no, but I think.
And I hope this is open source, right?
Oh yeah, that's even another crazy word in with the big industrial OEMs. But this is why
this is Bohr. Are you here, Bohr?
Borg. It's the Borg. That's what this is. That's what you're saying. We should have like the United Nations of companies
of IoT.
together
That's very good.
to build one harmonious thing, and it's all going to bring peace and love to all the machines. It's going to be great.
Play some Bob Marley, Leonard, please.
What?
Bob Marley.
Bob Marley.
Bob Marley.
Next week.
Don't worry about a thing. Anyway,
it's gonna be all right.
Be happy.
It's gonna be all right.
Everything's gonna be all right. Yeah, this is a good selling point. Yeah, you buy us. Don't worry, it's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
I think all the stuff that Mark's talking about could happen, except for we're in a winner-take-all capitalist society, and all these companies want to win, and they want their competitors to all lose. Therefore, they're like,
that sucks.
Screw that harmony crap. We want to win. I'm not going to name any names, but it's just what happens out there.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
I mean, yeah. And so, what was this like BS? What is this exponential transformation? What is this? What is this?
What are you saying?
Give some context maybe to the audience.
Yeah, it's this thing that comes beyond digital transformation. Now it's like exponential transformation. What?
I stopped reading. My brain cannot get more concepts, like bullshit concepts. So I stopped reading.
Exactly.
Good.
So stop reading Simon Sinek telling you about the infinite game.
Yeah.
Stop doing the exponential stuff.
Yeah.
Just have a
no. Honestly. So when I was leading the Things.io IoT platform, I was crying that there was no IoT platform succeeding into the market, and that was during the hype of IoT platforms and IoT. Now we are even not in the hype. So and still no successful IoT companies. Well, but Melina, I can say that it's successful, but still not like something like
you're not a Microsoft or
exactly. And we are not investing on ads, on marketing, etc. So it's amazing what we do. But anyway, I don't see other IoT companies succeeding. Why we cannot try things different and try to go all together and make the digitalization possible?
Yeah. You know what? It's the problem that operators are going to have with all the 5G the URLLC promise in particular. It's assurance. Nobody wants to do it because it's scary as hell. It's going to cost a lot of money, and you're going to be on the hook for delivering. And being able to do that in an impartial way, with no dirty laundry, like we're saying, it's like really scary, guys. All this honest talk really gives you perspective, because all the stuff that we're leveraging right now in this conversation is stuff that we've talked about in previous things. And then, we have this wonderful, refreshing trigger named Ryan coming in and throwing friggin' McDonald ice cream machines at us. And there's taking this exponential. This is exponential transformation. That's you, Ryan. You're friggin' exponential transformation. Clearly, there's no money in making the world a better place. So we need to get after it, building the metaverse. Okay.
Yes. Let's just do that.
Let's just focus on the metaverse and getting people angry at each other. That's what it is.
Advertising, dude.
This is not a stapler on my head. This will be a nice hat on the back.
Yes.
Dude, you know what it is? It's friggin' surveillance capitalism and advertising. That's where IoT is going. It's that cyber physical, online, merging online, offline, spying on everyone, using IoT to basically be able to do that. That's where the money's going to be at, and that's that thing.
I do want to, so think about this question is for. This question is for Ryan and for Mark, specific to how we think of a successful IoT platform. There are many platforms out there that are being utilized by another party that's doing the delivery, that's doing the work, right? So some of these platforms are getting used, right? They have instances, they have users, they're being monetized, but the end customer, let's just say, they're going through an SI. The customer cares about the solution. So do you see that when you say that IoT is not successful, is because they're not monetizing themselves, or that they're just not blowing up like a hyperscaler would? I'm curious how you guys see that.
Yeah, Mark, would you like to go? Or
no, I talk too much today, so I give you.
That's good.
I give you some minutes.
Oh, thank you. So I think part of it comes to the different proprietary protocols, at least in industrial IoT. So a lot of these IoT platforms may communicate via like a Modbus driver or maybe an OPC server. But when it turns into having to do configurations on the other side of the devices, it begins to add a lot of complexity, because you're manually going into each PLC, each controller, and saying, hey, this is the data I want to serve up here. And there's a lot of different processes in plants as well, where it's not going to look the same. So trying to figure out which metrics to pull from which process, and then having maybe a CNC machine from Germany with the Siemens controller, having an overhead lift system with a Mitsubishi. They're all communicating different protocols. So I think most of it is just that proprietary data. And so having to do different drivers and download the packages really, I think, slows them down for scaling. So I'm biased. That's why I'm at Telit, because they have all those drivers, right? So we can pull it from a robot, and all that data is nice and commonized on the layer. So I think those are some of the things I've seen. Yeah, harmonized. So those are some of the challenges I see. But a lot of startups say, hey, I have this awesome AI algorithm, and then they'll go to one production line, or they'll go to one facility, and then they'll be like, okay, let's roll it out to the rest of them. And then they don't really know where to begin, right? So I always tell people, okay, if we're successful here, how are we going to duplicate this afterwards? Because you really have to focus in on the problem and then somehow make it higher level.
And Ryan, are you more focused on Greenfields or Brownfields?
I like the concept of Greenfield, but I just know every time there's a new facility going up, there's going to be a lot of production issues and bugs to work out. So I think the legacy device connection always interests me because it's more challenging. It's just something different, right? So when someone's like, hey, I have a PLC 5 from 20 years ago, how do I get data off of this thing? Like or if there's no controller at all, there's no serial port, like how am I going to get data off of this stamping machine that's 50 years old? Those are the fun ones for me personally.
You get a Telit module with some Gorilla Glue, and then you stick it on the side, and that, boom, straight to the cloud, baby.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Awesome. That's so funny. Okay, guys, this is officially a really long ass episode. But Ryan, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. And who wants to take us out? Should I do it or? Oh, okay. Well, hey, if you made it this far, thank you for sticking around and listening to our banter. There was some interesting stuff. I mean, I have to be honest. And Ryan, thank you so much for throwing us that exponential transformation topic of friggin' McDonald's ice cream machines getting hacked and the issues with dirty laundry. If you don't know what dirty laundry is, we actually have a dirty laundry episode. Just listen, and you have to work for those nuggets. We don't give it up for, you have to listen to all this rambling nonsense. So anyways, we'll be back next week. For those of you around the world who care, happy Thanksgiving. Travel safely. Protect yourself and your family. And we hope that we will see you next week. And remember to follow us at IoTCoffeeTalk.com. Oh my God. I almost did like a slavish plug for my own company there. And oh man. And what else is there? Oh yeah. Like, subscribe, share, comment, and talk to you next week.
Yeah.
All right.
See you next week.
Okay. Hey, thanks, Ryan. Thanks guys.
Again. I really appreciate it. Have a great holiday.
We'll have you on again. You can stir things up. We like that. That was great.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.